Ian White has continued his charge to potentially a fourth consecutive European Tour final. He is through to tonight's quarterfinals at the Dutch Darts Masters, and we're about to find out who he will face there. It is either the German number one, the maximizer, Max Hopp, who has already seen off Nathan Aspinall, the UK Open champion, and Joe Cullen, who was whitewashed at the hands of the maximizer, or it is Vincent van der Voort, who seems to be enjoying playing here in the Netherlands, the Dutch destroyer. He's beaten Andy Bolton 6-2. He beat Mensur Suljovic 6-3. Very impressive display from the big Dutchman last night. He had the crowd with him then. He'll have the crowd with him now. Will he have the crowd with him in the quarterfinals in a matchup with the Diamond? Or can Max Hopp continue his campaign looking to win a second Euro Tour crown? Paul Nicholson in the commentary box for the Dutch destroyer and the maximizer.
Well, I think it'd be interesting to see how Max plays in front of a crowd that is
England and gentlemen,
most definitely with
Max to throw first.
His opponent.
Game on.
A lot of people have accused Max Hopp of only being good in Germany when he's got the crowd. Well, that's balderdash, isn't it? Because
Balderdash, I tell you.
Because he won the Dublin Pro Tour, didn't he?
He did.
That's the hardest Pro Tour to win all year.
And he nearly won another Pro Tour the other day. Beaten in the final.
108.
Well, that was a beautiful camera zoom from 150th 180. That was as if to say, Van der Voort. Permanent University. No, there's zoom on University Challenge. Took me a few seconds to remember where he was from.
Yeah.
Van der Voort, Permanent University.
140.
Good start from Vinny.
Very, very good start.
I think it's fair to say he's got the fourth dart today.
Well, it was a
96.
belligerent display for the maximizer in round one. Nathan Aspinall averaged more than 100, but it still wasn't enough as Hopp came away with a 6-5 win. But Van der Voort, two fantastic visits, and then one poor one makes Max Hopp the favourite for this leg once again, really.
It was very philosophical, that, wasn't it? Two good visits and one poor
100.
one.
Isn't you required?
Sounds like a riddle.
40.
Oh, riddle me this, Vincent. 140. No. Wrong answer.
85.
I'm afraid that means we'll have to pass it over to Max Hopp. Idstein.
What's the equation for 81? 15 plus 16 plus 50
33.
does not equal X.
55.
Usually a good barometer of where Max is when he's looking at bullseye finishes. Won the title with a series of them in Saarbrücken last year.
Yeah, it's on the first leg.
But that is the first leg for Vincent van der Voort, who charged off at the start, stuttered a bit, and then came back to nick it against the throw. 14 darter. And big Vincent looking to join his mate Michael van Gerwen in the last 8. It has been a while since we've seen Vinny make it through to a quarter-final on the European Tour. He's had a couple of quarter-finals on the Pro Tour this year. He's actually played some good stuff as Vincent. And this whole time, it's been a number of months, I can't remember the last time that Vincent was obviously
100.
struggling with his back problems. The work that he's done, it's been some very, very painful physiotherapy and rehab that he's had to go through. But it seems to have worked
96.
wonders, which is not only fantastic news for Vincent, it's fantastic news for darts fans, but it's also really good news for the likes of, say, Gary Anderson, who has genuinely
83.
been worried that the back problems he's been suffering with over the last few months could spell the end.
It's really good news for Nathan Aspinall as well, who has back issues of his own.
81.
And we'll let Nathan talk about that in more detail in the future, but he's undergoing physiotherapy on a weekly basis. And it's all about repetitive strain,
96.
because if you look at the position of the tall Van der Voort, it's not a natural thing to do to lean over and throw darts as a tall man. If you do that enough when you practice and when you play all of these tournaments, you are going to get your body contorted into some positions that's going to cause pain. And it's happened through his long, illustrious career. And dart players now really have to look after themselves more than ever.
Well, I think what
58.
perhaps Gary Anderson,
103.
it should be a cautionary tale that players, prevention is better than cure. Double 16
87.
cannot be found.
Max Uruguay 164.
Well, looking after yourself is something that Max Hopp has done in the last few years. He's lost a bit of weight. And he understands that if you're going to have a long, illustrious career, you've got to make good decisions at the start of your career.
Uruguay,
He has done that. But the decision for Van der Voort now is made. It's double 8.
8.
Ooh, dear.
Max Uruguay 121.
Well, this was the number, wasn't it? Last year in Saarbrücken.
Yeah.
121 got him through to the final, and it got him the title.
Oh, it's a long way off there. He's
57.
very strange one, actually.
Isn't Uruguay
I've seen Max
8?
Hopp play a bit lately, obviously this weekend, but in his run to the final on the Pro Tour, and some of his darts at
Game's on the second
treble
leg.
17 and treble 19 have been a long
Third leg
way.
of Max
He's
to play
yanking
first.
them down a lot. I think it must be a technical thing. It's probably just a late release in the fingers, and it's just dragging it down.
Sometimes something creeps into your game that
57.
you have to realise it's happening in pressure moments in order to fix it. Like in the middle of the Premier League when Daryl Gurney, who made the playoffs, went through a couple of weeks where he only won one leg.
434.
And at that time, he was dragging his first dart under the 16. He was constantly searching for trebles. And I spoke to him in the middle of March about it, and he said, I've got to fix it. I've got to fix it quick,
140.
otherwise I'm going to be out of this race. And he did fix it very, very well and had a great campaign.
Yeah, I mean, arguably, that's one of the most impressive things about this Premier League campaign is how
84.
Daryl Gurney managed to battle his way through to the playoffs, having had those 2 nightmarish weeks where he was crucified. 14 legs lost, only 1 won, and then he just rebounded.
100.
But he's a scrapper, is Gurney. He's not here.
We're still learning about what kind of a player Max Hopp is. We've got a fair bit of information. We've been watching him for nearly 7 years. It was this tournament where we found out about him. We knew nothing about this kid, and then all of a sudden, in 2012,
96.
who's this lad from Germany who's beaten everybody? And since then, he's been sticking around and getting better all the time.
Yeah, 16 years old, rocked up, beat the 9-time major finalist Terry Jenkins, then beat Steve Beaton. Then he was beaten by, who was it? Not everybody's cup of tea, can't remember his name.
Gerwin wasn't playing then, was he?
88.
He's a
Uruguay,
the
86.
forerunner of Going Price, that was his name. Nicholson, that was it, Nicholson.
Another single for the ball. Oh, I don't think it was in the ball. It hit the outside 25 wire. But that was a real clatter, wasn't it?
It was. It's one of those where if it bounces out, you can pretend it was going in. People won't know. Surely you can use that first dart. That'll do it.
Finish on the third leg, Max Hopp.
Well,
leg is
Kirk
Vincent to
Bevins
throw
couldn't
first.
see that dart at all because the other two were shielding it. It was a very vital double for Max Hopp
95.
because if he goes 3-0 down, you can't see a way back from that when you're playing against a home player.
Yeah, he's not started well in this one, Max Hopp. He's only averaging in the low 80s right now. But Vincent is not playing as well as he did against Mensah last
51.
night, that's for sure. So he's not lost touch in this one. They haven't played each other for a good long while, actually.
100.
They've met once on the European Tour. Vincent was a big winner in that one. That was in 2016. But the other 2 times they've played, both at the World Championship.
140.
Vincent was a convincing winner back in 2014 when Max was he was a teenager. But 2 years later, Max had evolved a bit.
100.
Beat Vincent in the opening round as Big Vincent puts in his second maximum.
He's himself on a very attractive number. And he Doesn't have to go to 19s if he doesn't want to.
126.
He's got time on his side. He's going to stay up top. The veteran thing to do.
56.
And that's okay. He's got plenty of breathing space. And that's a really good first start from Max, and he hasn't had that in this match. There's been way too many darts
70.
underpitched or dragged down, like you mentioned. I think that's what it is.
Well, I'm just wondering, and let's just see if Vincent can pin this. And he can, and it is 3-1. I'm just thinking, Max, he does have various speeds at which he plays, and this weekend he's actually been a little bit quicker. He seems quicker through the whole process of throwing. He's standing and delivering. You're not seeing him pause, you're not seeing him take stock. And I'm just wondering, particularly with those darts down the bottom of the board, if he's just through his action that little bit further when he releases and his timing is off, and that means he's holding onto the dart for a fraction of a second longer and he's dragging it down. His arm is further through the action.
Yeah, that's a very good analysis, Dan, because when you, say, block the 60 with, like that dart 2 there, and you have to go downstairs, well,
100.
most people would anyway. Part of the switching process is not just doing this thing at exactly the same pace. There is something added to it. It's the eye switch and then the calibration of where you're going. There are players who stand back when they need to switch. Say Gerwin Price, if he blocks that 60 bet and he needs to go to the 17s
100.
or the 19s, he will actually step back sometimes to recalibrate instead of staying in the rhythm. And I think you're right, Dan. I think he's just out of sync sometimes with that switch.
Everything in sync there for Vincent. Leaves himself on 82 after 9. Max Hopp looking at a 161. It's just not going to go. And
100.
you mentioned we are still finding out what kind of a player Max Hopp is. I think last year, certainly when he won in Saarbrücken, as Vincent needs to look at the 12 now, and now looks at the ball, and that first dart might be a decent guide, but
Max requires 61.
Can't pin it.
Now, where does he go here? Is he going for the 15? It's not a bad miss, that. 17 leaves 44. Does he know what he wants? I don't think he does.
Well, normally you'd think he's going 12, but he's looking over on the right-hand side, I think. Yeah, the Motown shot, 4 tops.
Shot the fifth leg.
Well executed. And we can say all we want about indecision,
Game on.
but at some point there, Max said, I'm going for the 4. And when he did, he committed to both shots, and they were both very good darts.
You can't... We talk about clarity of thought and making sure you know in your own mind what you're going to go for and fully commit to it. Now, you can't help it if sometimes you second guess yourself and maybe I should go that. But what he's done is exactly right. Stop, leave no room for doubt. Tell yourself, right, this is the route we're going. No sort of rogue thought floating around your head, or maybe I should go this, because that's when you miss big numbers. That's when you stray into the wrong segment, because you're not fully committed, you're not completely sharp on what your plan is. And he's done exactly the right thing there.
We've talked a lot on the European Tour in the last couple of seasons about when things aren't really happening for you and you need a setup shot that has an out. We talk about 10 or a 6, don't we? But in that shot with Max Hopp, he has proved to us that there is another one. So when you go 44, and if you go for a 12, you drag it low or high, you get a 5 or a 9, you've got no shot double. If you go 4 and you overpitch, you've got 18 double 13.
Which is the same part of the board as well. So, but Vincent's looking at the same part of the board here. And he goes over the top of that first dart, and the crowd will tell you that their man has re-established the 2-leg advantage, and he's averaging 102, and Vincent has just moved through the gears.
We talked earlier about the quarter-final
100
prowess of Vincent van der Voort this season. I've noticed something with his form over the last few years. When he plays well, he does it in clusters.
He does, yeah. He'll have weekends where he back-to-back quarterfinals and stuff. You know, he's done that this year. In fact, the last time he made a Eurotour quarterfinal, it was September 2017, the German Darts Grand Prix, and that was in a run there where only, how many days later? It was about 2-3 weeks later. Again, he had back-to-back quarterfinals just before the World Grand Prix. But the thing is that with Vincent, when you look back through his history, he's fit. When he's fit, he's able to play really good darts. The problem with Vincent is then you might see a 6-month spell where he doesn't do a great deal because he's not. His back's gone, he's not able to play properly or practice, and he's got problems.
140.
I remember, I think it was a couple of seasons ago, he made back-to-back quarterfinals on the Pro Tours in Dublin. And I was having dinner with Vincent on the Saturday night after the second Pro Tour, and I asked him, how did you do this weekend? He said, a couple of quarterfinals. And I totted up how much that was worth. It was 4,500 points, £4,500. And at that moment I thought, that is a valuable weekend.
Yeah.
And get yourself to other tournaments.
Yeah, makes things happen, opens doors for you. Max Hopp is opening a door here for himself. So he needs to keep on holding throw. Got to find a breaky throw from somewhere, but he's already checked out 61, 64.
There you go, recalibration for a dart on the other side of the board, and that was perfectly done.
Yeah, very nicely done. But can he find a way to break the Van der Voort throw?
I'll give you another example of that recalibration thing. I think it's a really good topic.
140.
The 140 people, they thought it was a max. But in my best part of my career, I do believe that I was one of the best double 16 shooters in the world. But I didn't realise I was doing something until a couple of seasons later, because Steve West told me I was doing it. And that was, I throw from the right middle of the hockey, so just a little bit right of centre. Not even sure why.
60.
But every time I needed double 16 on a combination shot, I would always look down at my foot again and then go a little bit to the left. And by doing that, what I was doing was decreasing the amount of distance I was throwing the dart. Because from where I stand on the hockey, usually it would be over 7'9¼ but I was decreasing it by going to the left and making it roughly the same as what it was if I was going for the 60.
You're just doing that naturally without even thinking about it.
I was. And then after that, I stopped doing it and I stopped hitting it. So I had to almost get back into the good habit.
Well, Vincent van der Voort doing a very good job at the minute of protecting his throw. Max Hopp needed all three to get to a finish, so Vincent no need to take this out right now. Just look to set it up, I think.
Yeah, I like that shot. Guarantees the two-darter. Gets the single 19 there going for the 81. He's got 62. And then he's only got one guaranteed darter double. But here, he's going to get two. Now,
do you like the bullseye here again?
I love the bullseye at 25 here.
83.
I don't like that.
And you're going 56.
And neither does Max.
It was a gamble to go for the 19s, but it's one that did not pay off. Vincent van der Voort is one leg away from making it two players from the Netherlands into the quarterfinals of the Dutch Darts Masters. Now, Max Hopp, we said that we're still finding out about what kind of a player he is. Last year in Saarbrücken, and indeed most of the way through last year, when he really stepped up and showed us that he could mix it with the very best and win titles, you kind of had him down as a sort of prototype James Wade type player. He's a guy who, at his best, goes out there and averages 98, 99, maybe 100, hits half his darts at double, but he's got the bottle. When he really needs to hit something, it goes. He seizes those moments and he finds ways to win games. In Saarbrücken, he kept on winning last leg deciders and close matches by doing exactly that. But this year, there have been a couple of instances where he's shown he's got the gears to blow people off the board, absolutely blast them off the board, 110 averages. He's done that a couple of times on the Pro Tour this year, and that scoring power for the Maximizer, it has to turn up right now, because he's got to win three legs, and he's got to find a way of breaking Vincent van der Voort, which is something he has not done in this match so far.
Oh, he doesn't like that one because it doesn't leave a finish.
127.
For the 127.
And the game. No need, and he's going to do the Max Hopp shot of trying to bully his way into that treble 20 when he blocked it.
Vincent could still win the match in this leg. But before he potentially does that, I think the match that made Max Hopp really stand up was a win against Barneveld in the singles at the World Cup, where he really showed some spirit. Now, he's going to need spirit here and some skill for double 16. That's a really good connection with that 32. Keeps himself alive.
Game on.
Well, that's it, isn't it? He's the last 3 legs he's won on throw, 61, 64 and 70 checkouts, and they've all gone for 15 darters. That's the sort of stuff, you know, that's your James Wade stuff. 15 darters, 100 averages, taking out those doubles. You may only get 1 dart, it goes, no matter what pressure you're under. But he's going to have to find what James Wade has been such a ninja at over the years, is doing that on his own throw, and then once in the game, finding a 12 darter to break his opponent. Thank you very much. Win it by a couple of legs off your pop.
104.
I think Max Hopp has got a couple of game plans though, because James has only got 1. Score, leave tops, 12s or 10s.
Yeah, it's a good game plan. I mean, look at this, 101 average from Vincent van der Voort. Max is nearly 15 points behind, but there is still a chance of him winning this game, but not if Vincent continues in the manner he's done on throw through this match and just protected it, been strong, denied opportunities. Doesn't matter with Max not on a finish that he's not left a makeable checkout.
Yeah, he's not happy that he got the single 20 with the last start, but it's not the end of the world. I think the lie was so good, he thought he was going to get another 60. That's a 60 that Max gets with a sheer power shot. There's the guide. There's the 60. And there is a single 8. I was expecting to see a 25 or a ball, but this is okay. Max needs a maximum and a prayer.
Another. Oh, no. Well, it would. It looked like it was in the 60 to me. And it would have given him a chance, but Vincent van der Voort has got a couple of visits to see this off, and he may only need a couple of darts, because Vincent van der Voort is through to the quarterfinals on the European Tour for the first time in